Well, Richard, you are the next volunteer to be featured in our series. How did you become involved with Macclesfield Town?
Well, I moved to Buxton back in the early 90s, and Macclesfield were the nearest football league club, and I got two lads and I thought they needed to go and see a football match, so we came down here. It was still in non-league then. And then they came to school in Macclesfield and started coming regularly, so I was bringing them over. Then I realised it better to get a season ticket and became a Mac fan. And that's so for the last 20 odd years now, I've been a Mac fan.
Over the years, you must have built up some great memories watching the team.
Well, it's been a roller coaster, always is. Wonderful sort of cup days, beating Cardiff here and getting through. That was just one of the great days. And you sit down and you think, well, this makes some of those darker days worthwhile. Last season, of course, just fantastic. It was just one of those great things. It was a miracle that we went up, and it just went on and on and on. Suddenly dawned on one, we're going to get promoted. Yeah, fabulous it was last season. No, that's the biggest memory, of course.
And in terms of some of the players you've seen over the years, you've seen some great players on the Moss Rose pitch, haven't you?
I have, and Danny's two stints, of course, Danny Whitaker. I think one of the people I really liked, and I know it's easy to remember the more recent ones, but is George Pilkington. I just watched him, and as we'll get on to in a moment, I did some commentating, and he's just positional sense, organisation, just fantastic. You see these long balls coming through, and you think, oh gosh, that's dangerous, and there's George. Cool as a cucumber, getting it back up the pitch, and we've seen wonderful wonderful people. I like Matty Tipton and other strikers like that, the Beast and people like that. But it's been a great, it's a great roller coaster. Some very good memories.
And I'm guessing you built up many friends along the way here at Macclesfield Town.
Yes, yeah. Well, there's of course I go to away matches and have done for a while now. And there's the core you see there. We were down at Exeter earlier this season. There were good 26. Yeah, and I can name them all. And yeah, just around over here in the McElroy, and when I sit in the stand here as a season ticket holder before I did the press box, the people I sat around, it was great, and it becomes part of your life. It is wonderful. Yeah, I know. And now more recently with the volunteering, I feel more integrated into the club. Yeah, it's great.
Before we move on to the volunteering side of things, Richard, tell us a little bit about yourself away from football.
Well, my job, I'm afraid I have to admit, I only had one job interview back in 1979, and I got a job at the University of Manchester, and I've just retired as a Professor of Earth Sciences from the University of Manchester. I still have ties with there, I have honorary positions, but I'm a geologist by training, although more recently I've been working in nuclear waste disposal and playing with particle accelerators to look at the structure of compounds for technological use and environmental aspects. So that was my day job.
I must admit, Richard, you've lost me now, so let's move back onto football.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I worked a lot with some very bright people. I'm not a physicist, a biologist or a chemist, so I worked with bright physicists, biologists and chemists.
In terms of the volunteering you do here at the club, Richard, what first made you offer your services to the club?
I became more and more involved in the club, as everybody does, became more and more of a fan. And then one day, George Williams, who was doing the commentating, it's about 10 years ago, I remember it was Aldershot at home, we won 4-2, and he was doing the commentating over in the press box, and he said, I need somebody to come and help me. And so I did a bit of expert summarising, just commentating to let him have a drink. And then he said, have a go. And so I had a go, and I started talking, and been talking for the last 10 years, I think. No, I enjoyed doing the commentating, and then sort of took it over from him, both sort of home and away. And then when we got in when the Football League became more formalised, and And then I enjoyed doing the commentary. I do enjoy doing the commentary and going away, you know, with the team. I only do away matches now. My lads became involved, first in my elder son, Alistair, and then my younger son, Callum. They joined me doing the commentary. And it was actually working with the lads as well as, you know, doing it for the club. It made it very enjoyable. And last season, you know, we travelled round the country together to all these far-flung places. And it's good. I do enjoy the commentary, and I enjoy working with my lads, and more recently with people like Matt Todd and others, Ray Bamford, Ben Bowness, who do the home commentating.
One question I've got to ask you, Richard, is as a commentator, it goes with the territory that, you know, make a blooper every once in a while. Any memorable ones you can think of?
Bloopers, it's difficult because I never ever listen to my voice back. I hate it. And what I was pleasantly surprised is that when I'm in the stands, of course I use all the naughty words, but when commentating, the worst word I've ever used, I think, is hell. And it was last Christmas when we were playing Wrexham, and of course after 18 minutes it was snowing, and people had to rush out onto the pitch and clear the lines. And Big Jim was there, snaking around across the pitch. And I just said, what the hell is Big Jim doing? So, not a blooper, but it's surprising you how you do curtail your naughty language.
I think a few people made bloopers that day, Richard, our PA announcer for one on that day, for people who remember that one, but perhaps we shouldn't go there.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And just finally, Richard, looking ahead to the rest of the season, it's an exciting time to be a Macclesfield Town fan, isn't it?
It is. You know, the miracle of last season's got us back up into the Football League. Let's do everything to stay there. And, you know, many people, it's crazy. The last two people you've interviewed, you know, have been Sol Campbell and Andy Cole. I mean, this is crazy. This is Macclesfield Town. So, you know, we're in the media spotlight, and let's stay in this Football League, you know, and we've, you know, worked hard to get there. It is really exciting. And, you know, we've got a series of big games to the end of this season. No, wonderful. It's, good time to be a Silkmen.